It's just unbelievable, the landscape.
Southern Utah is arguably one of the most striking and spectacular examples of nature's vast and varied art. A canvas of desert sand and red sandstone, punctuated mostly by a floor of juniper, grass, and cactus. Perhaps the most iconic example of this region, and in fact Utah, is Delicate Arch in Arches National Park. It's on Utah license plates, a statehood commemorative stamp, and nearly every brochure that you see about the state. The Olympic torch passed through here on the way to the 2002 Olympics. This episode of Discoveries America National Parks is about not only Arches National Park, but also the adjacent Canyonlands National Park, plus a visit to Natural Bridges National Monument, a few miles south. On the trail to Delicate Arch are petroglyphs by the early Utes, preserved in a sandstone face. According to park scholars, the carvings were made sometime between 1650 and 1850. Dominant features, figures of a horse and rider, and bighorn sheep.
And then water getting in there and doing the work. Often it's thought of, does wind do the work? No, it's water. We're in the high desert environment, so we have very cold nights in the winter, so we have freezing and thawing going on. And we do have precipitation, not very much, about 8 to 10 inches a year. And so the water doesn't have that much of an opportunity, but when it does good work. And it just finds a weak place in the rock, and over time those openings start growing, and we'll get to huge arches, but we're talking a very long time. A very long time is really dependent upon how much precipitation is happening. Of course, in the Ice Age, 10,000 years ago, we would have been getting a lot more precipitation. Things would look very different, so the erosion would have been happening quicker. Right now,
Canyonlands National Park is just a few miles away from Arches, but remarkably very different.
It's really showing different layers. At Arches, we're looking at layers that are younger, that would be on top of those layers we see at Canyonlands. So within a short drive, say 45 minutes to an hour from Arches, you'll be in very deep red cliffs, slopes down to the Colorado River. And really, Canyonlands was created by the rivers, the Green River and the Colorado River, working their way through and cutting down as that rock was lifted up. So these layers that we see at Arches are torn off already at Canyonlands, and other layers are pushed up and the rivers have cut down through them. So you're seeing an entirely different array of that book of geology. So it's kind of mini Grand Canyon, but also a real visual feast because there's different shapes and
Canyonlands
spires.
National Park has flat, slow-moving, placid waterways suitable for shallow draft canoes, dories, and tubing. However, at their confluence, a dramatic change. World-class whitewater starts here at Cataract Canyon. This footage is courtesy of one of the West's foremost whitewater outfitters, Western River Expeditions. Western River Expeditions runs 4-day trips down 100 miles of the Colorado River in Canyonlands National Park. There are a variety of trails throughout Canyonlands. One is a short hike to an interesting geologic mystery in the park, Upheaval Dome. In most of Canyonlands, geologic order is the norm. That is, layers of sedimentary deposits record the various chapters in the park past in an orderly fashion. Upheaval Dome, on the other hand, is another story, the cause of which keeps scholars occupied. Moab, Utah, near Arches and Canyonlands, is the capital of outdoor recreation in southern Utah. Hiking, rafting, jeeping, bicycles, ATVs, boat tours, it's all here. Rock crawling, or jeeping as some call it, is an interesting and, depending on how adventurous you are, exciting way to see the desert. In national parks, there are four-wheel drive roads, but on BLM land, the four-wheel or jeeping trails are where the rock crawling goes on.
Here we are. Woo! Down in the Mickey's.
Natural Bridges National Monument, established by President Theodore Roosevelt on April 16, 1908, encompasses nearly 8,000 acres of high desert, ranging in elevation from 5,500 to 6,500 feet. By road, Natural Bridges is about 100 miles or a 2-hour drive from Canyonlands National Park. As the crow flies, it's less than 50 miles. There are 3 natural bridges in the National Monument, but in the 1300s, they migrated south, replaced by Navajos and Paiutes. Horse Collar Ruin is one of the best preserved ancestral Puebloan sites in the region. Very likely this ruin's great state of preservation is because of the difficulty getting to it.